Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Leading Shmasimim Merosi Rusbas Mordechai. The Schos B'ni Akiva Simcha Ben Fega. Welcome to the guests. I just want to talk about for a minute or two or more. Right now, the Aguda convention is going on, and it's unbelievable how many of the Chevra went down there. It was similar to like a tefillin booth by Lubavitch, you know? They're like just going and grabbing people. So here's one picture. This is basically our Chevra, but I want to show you something very interesting. This Shlomo Klein, token Lubavitcher. These are some guys from Kiryas Yoel that do the daf. Eli Deichman, Yossi Klein. You know what this is? This is Dr. Listhouse, who sponsored the entire Megillah, Masechta. So he came down to see what's going on. He's wearing his merch, 8-minute jackets. So Yishkoyach Dr. Listhouse. Over here we have Rav Yerachmiel Fried from Dallas, and Peretz Chaim Levin, who's he already gave out a whole box of Taanis before. This is Rabbi Levin. This is Rabbi Yerachmiel Fried and Eli Deichman again. This is at the booth. If you look over here, you can see the boxes of Gemaras piled up, hundreds. So at the end of the day, I would love to say they gave out 600 Gemaras. They gave out 50 Gemaras last night. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's a good start. So we have with us Leibish Eisen Levi Eisenach. Me and names are from Rockaway. Shalom Aleichem. The guy in the hot seat. And your name? Tzviafim. From where? Toronto. Jeez. You know Meir Plankin the Oilam over there? Shkoyach. And you? You ain't know. Oh, that's right. Okay, you're cousins. Do we have time for email or two? Okay. What? Who's by the window? Shalom Aleichem. Rosenfeld from Flatbush, not at Solomon. Get out. What's your first name? Aaron Rosenfeld from Flatbush. We're in Flatbush. What street? Yeah. Just tell me the avenue. Avenue L. Givaldi. Okay. So you live in the 30s, Mustafa. Very nice. Aram Meislik. I just came home from the yearly Farbringen of Yat Kislev and still had to finish the daf at 1:30 a.m. It was the first time I was able to interact with the guy sitting next to me in Gemara and learning. Thanks to you, I have the right tools and knowledge and always prepared to learn. It doesn't matter how many times I turn and give them the dirty look. Klum. Garnished. It's not you, right? No, okay. And the best part, he's a Chabadsker. I made a Chazar in the daf from yesterday. Okay, whatever. I think I skipped here something. It's not like a Gemara. You can skip. I can thank you for the word. Thank you so much for all you do. I look forward to meeting you at the Sim in London, Bezer Hashem. Your Talmud Aaron Meislik. Was noch? Benzi Hershkevitz. The good morning, Rabbi Isai is amazing. Da 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 da. You're a Galadar. You're Mashiach. Good Shabbos. No, I just made that up. Should I really read it? The good morning, Rabbi Isai, you say before every shir starts my day off to a good start. Baruch Hashem, I've been doing the daf since brachas. I'm just reading because I don't want you to think he really said that. And that, since brachas, the daf has come a part of me. I can't go a day without doing the daf. Thank you for encouraging more and more people to learn the daf. Maybe Zoich to spread the daf for many, many years to come. Good Shabbos. So anyway, Rabbi Isai, bottom line is, just like they're doing it in the Aguda convention, you can do it anywhere. You can do it at Levias, bring a box. I don't know, just bring a box with you, give it out. You see a bunch of guys, just go over them. Lubavitchers have no problem doing it. They did it in the middle of my chasana, pulled out tefillah. You just pull out Gemaras, that's it. It's the new thing. We're going to have to do it at the food convention. What is it called? The food show, anything. Kosher Fest. You go flying on a plane, you got a bunch of people locked up in one of those, just go around from aisle to aisle. It's the way to do it. I want to say that, what's their name? Ben Bergie? What was their name? You remember, the two brothers that came from Miami? Oh, here they are. Shkoyach, I want to say Shkoyach to you. 100 Gemaras they'll do nowadays. 100 Gemaras. The two brothers. They're here for the fifth time. Ben Mergie. Ben Ben Murgy. I won't remember that. Okay. Huh? They already did. The money's in the account. It's finished. Done. It's Oimrim V'Oisim. So if you want to donate, I don't know where you go. Sponsor MDY.com or something like that. I don't know if it works. Does it work? Anybody? Yeshua says it doesn't work. Maybe it's up and working already. But kids, just go to 8minutedaf.com and whatever, you'll figure it out. Yesterday, I'm going to say this over. My father, Binyam ben Avraham, his neshama should have an aliyah, and please ask Hashem to bless us with many, many cars. So I found up shop. One of his friends wrote in, not him. His friend wrote in. He says he sells cars for a living, and they don't have cars. They can't lease cars. They can't do anything. So he's asking Hashem for not that he wants.
Example of being down the kavschus.
Exactly. You have to be down the kavschus. I didn't understand it as much as I was trying to. I wasn't poking fun. I thought maybe he's trying to make a joke or something. I didn't. Now I understand that Kiva Sokowitz also leases cars. Doesn't have a single car to lease. Huh? Bill Boyer. What? You know these guys? You're also. Oh yeah. It's all. Why? 43. Flatbush, that's it. All right. The parnas of the chodesh for the koilel is Chaim. Maseches Taanis is dedicated by the Kessler and Davis families. Refuah shleima for Miriam Esther devora. Parnas of chodesh Yoili. Lili Nishmas, his father, assistant Shver. Also, parnas of chodesh Reuven Klein, his mother Nechama bas Calev, and by the Hanas Brothers in honor of the Hanasabzadeh, Krispin, Benazera Families, and Shlomo Lalezarian for inspiring us to join MDY. Oh, by the way, I have to say this. Yossi Klein, who organized the whole thing over there with Mark Ashkenazi and David Address and Eli Dyke and those chaver. So he left me a message. He said, listen, we need more guys there to man the booth on Friday. Friday, a little bit on Shabbos, whatever. So please tell people to call me. I'm like, you're crazy. It's YouTube. I'm not telling people to call. Call me, okay? 845-659-0036. He also does plumbing if you need him. 845-659-0036. Was noch? All right. If anybody wants to donate, like Dr. Alan Listhouse, Maseches Moed Katan is next, I think. What's next? Moed Katan. It's available. Beseder. Rabbi say, we're in the middle of a sugya. It's one of these sugyas that has many, many steps. The maskana of the sugya, let me tell you the end. The end is that a shliach tzibur says anenu, special anenu, in between Gale Yisrael and Refuah. Right over here. This is the end. A shliach tzibur says it over here. Now, where does the individual say it? So that the Gemara is going to tell us, l'maskana, it goes right over here in Shemei Tefillah. Shemei Tefillah. But in order to get there, we have to go through all the steps. We're going to exhaust every possibility, and that means many steps. They're very short steps and easy steps, but there are many of them. So let's see if we can remember a few of them from yesterday. I don't know if you can read this. Can anybody read it? Here, we'll zoom it up a little bit. Here we go. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda takes his son for a walk and says, by the way, the place that you say for Yachid, you say Anenu, is where the Shliach Tzibur says it. In other words, it's its own bracha. Between Gale Yisrael and his son, Rabbi Yitzchak, doesn't like it. He argues on his father, and that's how he paskin. You say it by Shemei Tefillah. So the Gemara asks, but we say, it says, there's no difference between a Yachid and a Tzibur. Besides that a Yachid says 18 brachas and a Tzibur says 19. We already explained 18 means 19, 19 means 20. That's how we do. We add it, but that's not important. There's no difference. Only 18 and 19. Now the Gemara says that it can't. What does Tzibur mean? Tzibur must mean an individual, not a Tzibur. The Gemara proves it. Can't be. Why? Because if it's talking about a shliach tzibur, we know that a shliach tzibur says 24 brachas, not 18 and not 19. It's a whole different category. 24 brachas. That we're going to see tomorrow night. Very long Mishnah. There's 24 brachas. We add 6 brachas. Can't be that. So what is it? When I say tzibur, I don't mean tzibur. I mean a yachid that accepts upon himself a taanis tzibur. And how many brachas does he say? 19, not 18. Where does he stick in this 19th bracha? It's not in Shemei Tefillah. It's a brand new bracha. called in between Gale Yisrael and Freinu. Over here you have proof that an individual could say his own bracha. What are you so, Rabbi Yitzchak, why do you go against your own father and say, no, how could you say your own bracha? Here, it says Mefurish, Ein ben Yachid Tzibur, 18 and 19, a Yachid. It doesn't mean Tzibur, it means a Yachid. The Gemara says no. Tzibur means Tzibur, a Shliach Tzibur. You ask me, Kasha, how is it possible that a Shliach Tzibur says 19, a Shliach Tzibur says extra 6, as it says in the next one? No. There's a difference. Here's the difference. We even learned this yesterday, if you remember. We learned there's 3 Tanesim, 1, 2, 3. If that doesn't work and there's no rain, we do 1, 2, 3. And if that doesn't work, we do 7 in a row. So it's 3, 3, 7. What's going on with the focus? Oh, no. Okay. So 3, 3, 7. Chaim, what's going on with the focus? You told me to get that camera.
No, that's not the one I told you to get. That's the one you got before you asked me.
Get over here, Chaim.
That's the one you got before you asked me.
No, I got the good one. I got the really...
The good one's in focus. It's the other one that's not in focus.
Oh, that's what you're saying. The good one is in focus. Okay, now here. We have 2 cameras. We have 3 cameras. There's one that's constantly in one position, doesn't move. And the one that zooms, the little guys, those are $2,000 cameras, by the way. They're not cheap. But those are the ones that are out of focus and don't have that good of a picture. Okay. Says the Gemara, listen to this. The Gemara says, but in this series over here, the first 3 ones, we're not in such sakana yet. It didn't rain. Okay, it's bad news. We should fast. Nobody's dying yet. So in that case, the Chazan doesn't say 6 extra brachas. You're asking me, how is it possible that there's 18 and 19 brachas and it must be, we're talking about an individual? No, we're talking about a shliach tzibur, but a shliach tzibur in the first series. And over there, he doesn't say 24. Says the Gemara, but look at this. I'm just saying this out. It's very small questions and answers. If you don't understand, it's fine. There's going to be a new sugya later. There's no difference between the first series, the 3, and the 3. There's no difference. What is the difference? Only one difference. You can't do malacha in the second 3s. You can't do malacha. What about the brachas, the amount of brachas you say? L'chayr, it's the same. And just like the second series over here, you say the Chazan says 24 brachas. So over here also the Chazan says 24 brachas. Why are you telling me that in the first series it's a nice attempt? Oh, first series, the Chazan doesn't say 24, he only says 19. But the Gemara says, Ein Bain, there's no difference. The Gemara goes into this idea called Ton of Ashir. Sometimes the Mishnah doesn't say, or the Brayz doesn't say all the differences. But that only applies if there's a whole list of differences. You have 10 differences between 2 different things. So sometimes the Tana doesn't have patience or whatever it is, call it patience. He doesn't want to say the entire list. He says 5, and you'll have to figure out the other. But if he says 9, and the 10th one he leaves out, that doesn't make any sense. Why would he leave one out? Ton of Ashir doesn't apply to that. Or if he says 1 and leaves 1 out, it also doesn't apply. Just say the 2 of them. Okay, let's just see it inside. We're going too much ahead. But it's these small questions and answers until we finally get to the bottom line, and that is that a yachid individual says Anenu by Shemei Tefillah. That's it. That's the end of the sugya. Now, here we are. Daf Yomi Amud Beis. It's almost time to get to Amud Beis, Yudal Amud Beis, but over here, fine. We're Yud Gimel Amud Beis. Today's Yudal. Yeah. V'loi. So what are you telling me? That's where we're holding. Right over here. You're telling me that a chazan, like 7 lines, 8 lines from where it gets wide. The first wide line. Okay. It says over here that the chazan doesn't say 24 brachas over here, he only says 19. It says there is no difference between these guys and these guys. There's only one difference. What is the difference? They told me yesterday that a lot of people, especially Hasidim, people who don't have internet, are asking for a phone number. It's great to have a phone number. I don't understand what they're doing. I'm saying there's no difference between this and this. What does this and this mean if you're listening on a phone? I don't know. I had a Neitza. We finally, Tomer brought to my house a working prototype, within a week, a working prototype of a a computer screen that just downloads shiurim automatically, and you can't play any movies, videos, anything on it. The only thing you can watch on it is shiurim. It's with a touchscreen. You can go in there, downloads it automatically, and that's it. It's disabled and has its own little computer in it. So I was thinking, you could put one of these screens like in a shul somewhere, like they have, the computers, the Barilan, you put a screen. If somebody doesn't have internet at home, you can watch a shir movie. There'll be mamish lines, so they'll put 3. Then we'll do the whole shul eventually. We'll just do a whole room. Fine. No, it comes, these things, either you hook it up to internet or it has its own GSM card with an antenna and pulls it down by itself. It's all done. He showed it to me. It's in my house. I saw the whole thing. Working prototype. Zok to Gemara. And again, if any yeshiva wants one, call us. We'll get you one. Anyways, says like this. Maybe I should be more specific and say it, not just point to the chart. For those who are driving also. Ella, you see, these are the middle guys because there's 7 afterwards. So these are the middle. There's no difference in the first and the second ones. The first 3, you're allowed to do malacha, you're allowed to go to work, do whatever you need to do. What do you see from this? There's only one difference, but the difference of saying 24 brachas and not saying 24 brachas is not a difference. The Chazan always says 24 brachas. Says the Gemara, no, ton of Ishir. There's 2 differences. There's one difference between the first third and the second third. The first third you can do malacha, and the first third the Chazan only says 19. Why is it not mentioned? Because the Tana didn't want to say all the differences. The Tana said 1 out of the 2. Says the Gemara, my shir, the high shir. 1 out of 2 is not a good thing. If you say 1 and you left out 2, great. If you say 5 and you left out 5, great. But if you said 1 and you left out 1, that's not a way to do it. Vesu, and another question, va'ein bein katani. It's one thing if you list different things, but if you're going to say these are the differences, you're going to list all of them. You're not going to say ton of ashir when you say specifically these are the differences. Okay, so we're going back. Now what? The first, right over here, there's no 24 brachas. The first set of 3 Tanesim, the Chazan doesn't say 24 brachas. But why doesn't it mention it? You should say, here's the difference. Because we're not talking about differences in general. We're talking about very specific differences. Differences in Isser. There's an Isser to eat and the Isser to do Malacha. And in the first series, there's an Isser to eat and you could do Malacha. That's the Isser. How do you daven? That's something else. Look in the Mishnah Berurah, how many brachas you say. That's not what the Tana was talking about. But tefillas, he wasn't referring to tefillas. He wasn't telling you differences in davening. V'boy same another answer. What are you asking me? There should be another difference. It should be mentioned that there's a difference between the first series and the second series. Guess what? The second series, there's also no 24 brachas. So there's no difference between the first and the second. First and second, both of them don't have 24 brachas. Now we're going to go to the second part of the brisa. It says, what is the difference between the second series and the third series of 7? The only difference is, we're going to see today what matrian means with the shofar, or you say anenu. And you have to lock up all the stores. But for everything else, in other words, 24 brachas, you do say 24 brachas. Why are you telling me there's no 24 brachas in the middle series? Again, a small question, a small answer. Small question, you could go 12, 15 questions and answers there. And if you're going to tell me the same answer that we said before, I didn't tell you all the differences. I told you blow on a shofar, but there's also something of 24 brachas I didn't mention. You can't say that answer when it says specifically, these are the differences. You have to mention all the differences. Perhaps you'll say, Ein bein dafka. Vashir teva, top of Yudal and Amud Aleph. Well, there's another difference that also wasn't mentioned, and that's the teva. Take the teva out, take the beam out, put it in city center. We'll see what that is. Where? Darin Kodesh. Darin Kodesh, you take it out, put it in city center. It's not mentioned as a difference. So you see, there's things that the Tana purposely left out. Says Gemara, Mishum teva lav shiuru. Try number 1. I'll tell you the difference between Aron Kodesh and other things. The Tana was only talking about things you do inside a shul, not things you do outside in the street. Bringing Aron Kodesh outside in the street is a farhezi thing. Fine. Amar Ravashi, Masnisa Nami Daiko. I can prove to you that you have to say the Chazan has to daven 24 tefillos over here. 24. By the way, guys, I know it's hard. From now on, when there's noise, those who are sitting next to the windows, please close the windows. Let's just make it a thing so we don't have to do it every day. Otherwise, we're going to have to put you over here on this table or something. It's not their fault. They were so involved. I saw. They were shocked. Yeah. Like the Vilna Gaon said, how could you hear the thunder during learning? If somebody asked, I heard the thunder. What bro? Do they stop? How do you hear thunder in the middle of learning? How did you hear? What? There's noise? He doesn't even know what I'm talking about.
We're so captivated.
Omer Ravashi, unbelievable. Omer Ravashi, Masnisa Nami Daika Diktani, Ma Elu Yiseris Al Yishonis. What is the difference between the 7 at the end and the 3 in the middle? El Sheba Elu. And this is very, very important. Listen to these words. Ma Elu. What is these things? It's telling you the things. Ma Elu Yiseris Al Yishonis. What are the difference between the Rishonis? These are called Rishonis. It's interesting. I just noticed it now. We're going to see soon in the Gemara that these could be called Rishonis, not necessarily the first series. These are Rishonis compared to the Achronis. You have 7 over here and right before it. What is the difference between them? You see Mefurish that in everything else, in other words, for the brachas, 24 brachas, you say 20, Chazan says 24 brachas even in the middle one. And if you're going to say that he left stuff out, so it's a good proof. Ma elu means what are the differences here? These are the differences right here. I'm going to tell you the differences. There's no ton of ishir. You can't say the Tana left something out on purpose because it says mefurish ma elu. Here are the differences. V'tizbera ma elu dafku. Where you're going to say the words ma elu mean that he has to say everything. Vashir lo teva. But at the end of the day, he forgot to say the bima, the Aron Kodesh, Mishum teva lav shiuru. So now the Gemara comes up with a new answer. Yes, the Tana didn't say Aron Kodesh. You know why? It's very simple. If you turn the page, Daf Amud Aleph, you'll see that huge Mishnah. We're going to learn tomorrow. Should be easy, right? It's just the Mishnah. In that Mishnah, it says that they take the Teva and bring it to the city center. So he did talk about it. The Tana talks about it. Just not in our parak, in the next parak. Oh, Hashadas is lachi. If that's a good teretz. You're asking how come it's not mentioned? Oh, that was the first question all the way here. One of the first questions. If the Shliach Tzibur says 24 brachas, it's a great difference between the first series and the second series, but it's not mentioned. It is mentioned. On Daf Tesvav it's mentioned. The Tana talks about it. So once he talks about it over there, he doesn't have to mention it over here. Says the Gemara, bottom line. Okay, this is it. We're done with this sugya. My Havi Allah. What does a Yachid say? Where does he say Anenu? This Yachid. You hear? Omar Shmuel Ba Sisratoi. Yes, you're right. Never mentioned in Shas. Only here. Omar Shmuel Ba Sisratoi. V'chein Omar Rav Chia Bar Ashi. Omar Rav. In the name of Rav. Bein Goyal Roife. We say it as a bracha b'fnei atzmo, just like a chazan. Rav Ashi Omar Mishmei de Rabbi Yanai Berei de Rabbi Shmuel b'shomei tefillah. We say it not as a special tefillah because you don't say your own tefillah. You stick it in there when you daven for everything else. You daven for parnasa and chinuch and everything. Hashem, please send me a lot of cars. Then you stick in, but you don't say Baruch Atah Hashem Ma'anim Beis Tzara. It's not its own tefillah. And what's the halacha? B'shemei tefillah. So after all the back and the forth and the back and the forth, the bottom line is we say Anenu by Shemei tefillah, and the Chazan, if you recall, says it as a bracha b'fnei atzma between Goyal Yisrael and Rifa'enu. Brand new sugya. If you were sleeping and this whole sugya is not your piece of cake, brand new sugya here. Tanachada ubaris umenikois misanis berishonis. Ve'ein misanis b'achronis. On the one hand, it says that a pregnant woman, a nursing mother, should fast the first 3 fasts, but not the last ones. Now, when I read it, It just didn't make sense to me. How's it possible? Over here, you're not eating already for 2 months or whatever it is. Not 2 months, but you're not eating for a while. To get here, you have to do one fast. Sheni, Chamishi, Sheni, Chamishi, Sheni, Sheni, Chamishi, Sheni. And then you do boom, boom, boom. It's weeks, it's months later. So why shouldn't women fast there? Over here, they should fast. Pregnant women, it's mamish. It's dangerous for them and everything, but they have to fast over here. Not over here, not over here. It doesn't make sense. The Gemara says, you're right. It doesn't make sense. It means something else, not what you think. And it says, this makes perfect sense. It's a lot. It's 7 versus 3, but it's all the way at the end. It's like when there's nothing to do already. We exhausted everything. We're going to another 7 fast. And then finally it says they don't fast at all. What is going on here? First of all, we have a 3-way contradiction. The first one doesn't make sense. What's going on? Everything makes sense as the Gemara. Omer Abashi. The koid MCS biyadach. The metarz and kulu. Very, very simple. Women fast in the middle. That's where they fast, nothing else. So now, the first one that said they fast in the beginning, but not at the end, they fast in the middle. But they don't fast these guys. This is too much for them. It's 7 fasts. They're pregnant. They can't. So Rishonos is referring to here. When it's the beginning of the end, like we said before, when we're referring to these two, it's the beginning. We're not talking about these guys are babies. It's in the beginning. You're allowed to do malacha over here. We don't care about these guys. Care about for these two. This is the beginning. Fine. Then when it says that they don't fast in the beginning and the end, they don't fast in the beginning and the end. They don't fast there and they don't fast there. They only fast in the middle. And when it says that they fast at the end and not in the beginning, it's referring to compared to the beginning. They don't fast in the beginning, but they fast at the end. They fast in the beginning, they don't fast in the end. They don't fast not in the beginning and not in the end. It's Rashi says, an interesting lashon here. V'tzachus lashonu. It's like a play with words. It's to get you thinking. What's going on here? I'm going to give you 3 lines. It's a riddle. They don't fast in the beginning. They don't fast in the beginning and the end. They do fast in the beginning. So you have to figure it out. Here it is. This is one of the things that official would ask at the Siyum. Whatever. One of those guys. Anybody get his riddle? Rabbi Pessin got it? No. All right, Pessin's thing. Okay. Says the Gemara. Okay. Ma elu yiseres al rishonos. What are these 7 final fasts? Again, we have 3 series of fasts. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 7. What are these any different than the ones right before? Where are the nafkaminas? Are there any nafkaminas? It says, over here, we do something called a trua, a matria, whatever that is, and we lock up the stores. B'may matrian. What does it mean, you matria? Rav Yehuda Amar b'shefaros. Literally, like we do on Rosh Hashanah, we do a tkiya, trua tkiya. And we do it for the 6 brachas that the Chazan adds, for a total of 3 times 6, 80. Rav Yehuda Bereder Rav Shmuel Bar Shelas Mishmei de Rav Omar Ba'anenu. Rabbi Isai, if you have a pen, you should write in your Gemara right here that it's not referring to Anenu that we're talking about up until now. Anenu, we show here, this, in the middle of Shemona Esrei. Over here, we're talking about what we say after Slichas, during Slichas, Anenu lekei Avraham Anenu. Anenu lekei Yitzchak Anenu. Okay, who says this? Rashi. So if you don't know, if you're just reading it, you're not going to know, because it's very tricky. Until now, we're talking about Anenu Anenu. What's Rashi's proof? Because he said that you should say Anenu 18 times. You don't have an 18 Shemona Esreis. It's impossible to say 18 Shemona Esreis and say Anenu again and again and again. Can't be. Other Rishonim argue. Fine. And he says, you're supposed to say B'kol Ram, you scream it. Anenu lekei Avraham Anenu, you mamish B'kol Ram. Okay? Now, he also sticks in Rashi, and this is important. Where did he get it from? Maybe Matriya means with a shofar. Why would you say Matriya means to say Anenu? The whole Maseches Rosh Hashanah, we're talking about Matriya. Says Rashi, no. The whole Maseches Rosh Hashanah, we're saying Miriam, not Matriya. Matriya is a different lashon. It's not a lashon of trua. It sounds similar, but it's not the exact same. So that's where he got that it's not a trua. Because if it was a trua, just blowing a shofar, it would say Miriam. Okay. Says the Gemara, Kosokal Daitach, Man do Omar Ba'anenu, Lo Yomar B'Shifar. So Man do Omar B'Shifar, Lo Yomar Ba'anenu. We have machlekes here. One says Matriya means a shofar, one says Anenu. You don't combine the two. Vatanya, Ein Poichasim Sheva, Taniyos Al Tzibur Shebehem, Shmoina Esrei Asrois. At the end, you do 7, and in the 7 is 18 Hasrois. V'simul Davar, Yerichai. Just like Yerichai, one shot. V'Yerichai, Shofar Savra. What happened in Yerichai? Yerichai, they blew a shofar and the wall fell down. Similar davar. So similar davar means just like Yerichai is shofar, over here also shofar l'chayr. But you have the mandama anenu. So it can't be that it's anenu. So what is he going to say? He knows about this thing. El b'shofar is the kula amaloi pligi the kar la'asra. Ki pligi ba'anenu. Everybody holds this is shofar. Now this is very tricky. I'm here just to help you out. So if you're reading the Gemara without any kind of pirush and without looking at Rashi, it can be tricky. Why? Because it doesn't sound like Rashi at all. Simply you would read it. Everybody agrees this is shofar. The machlokes, do you say anenu or not? Right? That's how it reads. Mar savar kar le'asra or mar savar le'kar le'asra. Well, believe it or not, that's not the pshat. According to Rashi, according to the Refuah, the Rishonim, yeah. According to Rashi, it's very interesting. Everybody agrees that in our sugya it's a shofar, and there's 0 anenu. There's no anenu. The machlokes is in other places, in other tzaras. If there's a tzara, there's a lot of mosquitoes. Do we say anenu then? That is the shiloh. You hear? It's a pella. It doesn't read in the Gemara like that. The Gemara would seem like, as you read it simply, as I did until I saw Rashi, I couldn't believe it. It reads, there is anenu, there's a shofar, and there's a machlokes, do I add anenu or not? No, says Rashi. We're not talking about over here by Geshem in all our 7th Hanesim. In the 7th Hanesim, matriyim means 100%, there's a shofar. The question is, in other tzaras in Klal Yisrael, do we say anenu? Vatanya, ushar kol minim puronis hamisrakshois. Well, mandam v'shofar is al beninu loy. Oh, hold on. Let's go back. Marasav kol la'asro, marasav loy kol la'asro. L'mandam v'anenu kol shkem v'shofars. Well, l'mandam v'shofars al beninu loy. According to the mandam, it says you say anenu. So in other tzarais, you bring a shofar and anenu. And according to the other mandam, shofars and no anenu. In other tzarais. Vatanya, ushar kol minim puronis hamisrakshois. Other calamities, other tzares, kigoin, chikuch. So what's chikuch? Maybe something like this. A person has boils on their skin and they constantly have to scratch their skin. And this is happening to Klal Yisrael. This is a tzibur problem. So you have to bring out the shofars. Chagav. Here, there's a chagav. I like this picture because of what this guy is doing. There's 1 billion grasshoppers, and he's with a stick. He's gonna chase them away with his stick. I just thought this guy's a genius. Whatever. Fine. African witch doctor. Okay, Yosef, more work today. That's what he is. Oh, you mean he's not trying to chase them away. He's doing some sort of it's witchcraft. I get it. I hear. I mean, it's unbelievable. We say it, by Pesach night, Arba. I mean, these guys come through in billions, maybe trillions, I don't know. Billions, hundreds of billions of these guys wipe out the fields. It's such a tzara for these people. They work the whole year, and even Avigayil they have it. Okay, Zvuv.
No picture?
No. Zvuv. I have a story, though. There was by a tish, there was a Zvuv. There's a zvuv on a guy's head. He's trying to shluf a little bit during the tish, and it's nicht gegangen. So, like out of habit, he gave the zvuv a whack, and the fly falls down on the tish, dead in front of the whole tish, and everybody's like, "You just killed a fly on Shabbos in front of the Rebbe." He's very, very embarrassed. But I learned this in my Nechama against the flies. No, there's when I had a battle with the flies in my bathroom. I told you there's crazy mice. And for a whole year, my wife said, "Just get exterminated." I said, "No, I need to find out where they're coming from." So I killed 10. You come in 5 minutes later, there's another 10 little guys, not the big size. Where are they coming? I sealed everything. I put things on the wall. It was crazy. It was, yeah, you have to see pictures. But I come in with the zapper and I kill like 10. I come back later. There's another 10. So I kill another 10. And then I realize it's the same 10. They get zapped. They're on the floor like this. And then 10 minutes later, they just get up and fly away. That's Zvov is a whole different story. So anyway, at the Tish, the Zvov gets up and starts flying away. This has happened by the Beis Yisrael, by the Ger Rebbe. The Ger Rebbe told him, listen, this is a mashal to the Yetzer Hara. You think you got him? You think you broke that bad habit? And all of a sudden, poof, he gets up and he gets you again. So be careful. All right. Zok the Gemara. So the Zvuv, Vitzira, wasps, also terrible tzara. V'yatushim, Rashi says, mosquitoes, that's not that they bite you. And by the way, all these things have to be that they're not Hanas Bros. If they're the chagav that's literally going to wipe out your field, that's a whole different story. Then you can be Michal Shabbos. We're talking about, it's a little bit of a problem. They're very annoying. They're getting in your face, whatever it is. Rashi says these mosquitoes are getting in your eyes and your ears, in your nose and eyes. Again, not dangerous ones. And by the way, this has a little bit of a relationship to our parasha Shavua. They wouldn't be do trua. They would do tzaka. What does tzaka mean? They would cry. They would scream. Midat tzaka bapeh. What does tzaka mean? You do it with your mouth. Hatra b'shofars. Obviously, you only do tzaka. You don't do trua. Obviously, we're talking about trua means a shofar. Says the Gemara, you're right. Tanoi, there's machlokes Tanoi. So over here we see that on another tzara of Klal Yisrael, you always do a bepeh, not b'shofar. So the Gemara says, you're right, it's machlokes Tanoim. When do you blow the shofar on Shabbos? When the soldiers, the other guys came, the bad guys surround the city, or there's a danger of a flood. You're on a ship, it's about to go down, or you see a ship going down, then you have to do trua. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Le'ezra, Avaloi, Letzaka. If you want to call 911, then you pick up the phone, but not to daven to Hashem. B'mai, ilim v'shoifrois, shofar v'Shabbos mishari. What, you let her blow a shofar on Shabbos? Elalav ba'anenu. So over here, Hasra is referring to Anenu. V'kar lo Hasra, shma mina. So you see, there is a man Omar that says that when there's a tsar in Klal Yisrael, you say Anenu, you don't blow shofar, or you also say Anenu. Says Gemara, B'shnei the Rebbe Yehuda Nesiah have it Tzara. Again, I don't want to make the mistake again, because last time it slipped. I said Rebbe Yehuda Nasi. There's a difference between Yehuda Nasi and Yehuda Nesiah. Rebbe Yehuda Nasi is Rabbeinu HaKadosh, the one who wrote the Mishnah. He's the grandfather of Rebbe Yehuda Nesiah. He had a tzara. There's a big problem in that generation. Gozar tlosas taniyos v'lo yani. So they did 5 tanesim and 13 tanesim, and nobody, Akash Baruch Hu didn't answer. Sova lemigzat tvei, he wanted to do more tanesim. There is a concept that you don't impose on the tzibur too much. And very interesting that if a person accepted upon himself, we learned, remember? A person accepts upon himself a tainus on condition that his friend is going to heal. And in the middle of the tainus, they call him up. You're not going to believe it. They release him from the hospital. He has to finish the tainus. Whereas many Rishonim hold that when it's a tzibur, you don't want to impose on the tzibur. So if they accepted upon themselves to fast for somebody that's dying, a gadol that's dying, and then all of a sudden he's released from the hospital, then they'll tell the olam, stop fasting right here and there. We just turned to Daf Yomi, sponsored by Adam Vales, Leilu Nishmas Avigayil Gittel Bas, Pesach V'chava Rivkah, and anonymously as a schos shidduchim for my siblings and myself. Omar Rebbe Abba Bereder of Chiel Barabba, Rebbe Ami the Avad Legarmeu the Avad. Why did Rebbe Ami say, "Oh, don't impose on the tzibur, don't give them too many tanesim"? He didn't want to fast. He did it for himself. He says, "Ella, Hachi Omar Rebbe Chiel Barabba, Rebbe Yochanan Lo Yishanu Ella Likshamim. Aval Sharmini Puranios Misanin V'Hoilchem Achi Anu Min Hashamayim." You keep on going for other tzaras. It's only rain. Tanyam Hachi Kishamru Shalish Ukshamru Sheva. The series of 3 and then 7 fast. And the reason is because it's already too late. There's no reason to daven once. We'll see soon. Once that period of time comes, it doesn't make sense anymore to daven. The rain is not going to help us. Says Gemara, so Rabami said, don't impose on the tzibur. Over here he said, you do impose. You keep on going. You fast and fast and fast until Hashem answers. So over here it says, Mefurish, Divri Rebbe, I hold like Rebbe, that you don't impose. So here Rav Shimon Gamliel explains, the reason is that only by rain we stop, but by other saras we keep on going because Yotzes Manash Revia, we needed the rain before. Now it's already too late for the rain. Us, we live in a place that we need rain even in the summer. Where do we say Saint Talmud Bracha? All of Eretz Yisrael doesn't say Saint Talmud Bracha anymore in the summer. We need rain in the summer. Do we say it ki yichidim the meninim the ki yichidim minan? We're similar to yichidim. Ub'shemei tefillah, and we say it in shemei tefillah. Oy kirav daminon ubirkas hashanim. Do we say it as a community? We're a large community. Yes, we don't want to disturb other people, but we need rain. An individual who needs rain, he's not going to say it in Baruch Aleinu and ruin it for everybody. It's the middle of summer. Nobody wants rain now in Eretz Yisrael. The roofs are open, the things are this. So if you need rain, do it in Shemei Tefillah. Happens to be that in Yemen, the Teimanim, they would say the same Tal only in Shemei Tefillah because they lived in huts and they didn't want rain. Rain for them was terrible. Ruined their hut, knocked down their house. And later on, I don't know exactly when that happened, the later generation, they started saying, once they have regular houses, maybe just recently, they started saying, once they came to Eretz Yisrael or whatever. Okay. Zok the Gemara. You are like individuals, and you say it in Shemei Tefillah. When do we do all these Tanesim? When everything goes normal, when you plant in Cheshvan and you reap the field in Nisan. B'Yisrael Shruim Alad Mosam and Klai Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael. But nowadays, Hakol Lefi Hashanim, Hakol Lefi HaMekoymos, every place is different, and Ninveh is different. And if Ninveh is different, you should say B'Sei Talmud Vracha by Baruch Aleinu because it's different. Hakol Lefi Hazman. So you see that it's not like what you're saying. You don't say in a Shemei Tefillah. You should say a proper Tefillah because every place is different. You asked me a question from another Tana from a Braisa. Rebbe Tanu, who wrote all the Mishnais? Rebbe. He's a Tana. A Tana could argue on another Tana, no problem. Bottom line, Rav Nachman Omar, B'Birkas Hashanim, Rav Sheshes Omar, B'Shemei Tefillah. If you have a machlokes between Rav Nachman and Rav Sheshes, what's the halacha? So it depends. When it comes to Maminus, we pass like Rav Nachman, and in Isurim we pass like Rav Sheshes, and therefore Rav Nachman says B'Birkas Hashanim, and Rav Sheshes says B'Shemei Tefillah. V'ilchas says B'Shemei Tefillah like Rav Sheshes. So we learned in the Mishnah on Monday, you open up the door a little bit to the makola, to the food store, so people could grab some food. The Shabbos. Mom's like today. Well, today's Friday, but people are running around buying food here in the Merkaz. So you open up the doors completely to cover Shabbos Kodesh. Says Gemara, what does it mean exactly? What does it mean? Do we keep the door slightly closed on Thursday, just like we do on Monday, but you keep it closed the entire day versus Monday, just at night it's open? Somebody's embarrassed to pull out their phone. It's ringing in your pocket. You can shut it off. It's fine. Nobody's going to say anything. Why do you have your phone on you? Or perhaps, no. Thursday is different in two things. First of all, the store is open the entire day, but also the door is wide open. Says the Gemara, It says mafurish. On Thursday, you open the door completely. For the Shabbos, the door it's not ajar a little bit; it's open completely, like a. On Monday, says Rashi. Put this in your Gemara. Write it down. If you have two doorways on a Monday, you leave one open, you close the other. Here we go. You have some sort of booth right in front of your doorway. So what does this do? Here's the door, right here, and here's your table. So that acts as a closed door. So what if your door, just like here, it's completely open, but it's not open. You can't get into the store. Somebody's blocking you, so that's fine. Let's do two more lines so we don't really fall behind. The Nachman's not going to be here. He's going to get all upset. Maseches Shabbos, you come this Maseches Shabbos, fine. The 7 Tanaisim went by, and nobody answered. Akash Baruch Hu didn't answer. The 7. Well, we're talking about. Okay, but Avru Elu, huh? Yeah, of the 13. 337. Tana. Only what kind of building shouldn't you do? Something that's pleasurable. Nitiyah something that's pleasurable. But let's say I need food, you're allowed to plant. Let's say I need a house, I'm allowed to build. You're building like a chuppah for your son's wedding. That's for simcha you can't do. But you need to sleep somewhere, you need to live somewhere, that you're allowed to do. You're planting a special tree. So Rashi says very interesting. What they used to do, when a king had a child, a baby boy, they planted a tree. When that baby became king, that day, chopped the tree down and built him a throne. So it's a special tree. It's a tree l'simcha, and other people took on that minhag. That kind of tree we don't plant. But for food, you're allowed to. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Matzei Shabbos, 7:30.